Good afternoon and welcome. Hey, Marco. Marco showed up. We're on episode 36 of the Nooner. Thank you for the likes and the restreams. I am your host, David Bradley. This is the Nooner every weekday, Monday through Friday, with few exceptions. I'm coming to you live at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to drop noontime nuggets about sales, business, and life. Thank you for being here. Who just showed up? Marco just showed up. I got a +1. I can't see who the +1 is. Would love to know who the +1 is. All right. So, hey, for those of you just tuning in, this is the Nooner. I'm your host, David Bradley. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Every single weekday, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I'm coming in. I'm going to drop a little noontime nugget about sales, business, and or life. Hey, Carly, a little noontime nugget about sales, business, and or life. Hey, Carly, welcome. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be asking some tough questions. Tough questions about success. Everybody's got their own, thank you for the restream, everybody's got their own definition of what that is, what it means to them. But today we're going to be looking at some of the tough questions that are surrounded by success and that are surrounded from success. So this is my first Nooner this week. I've been out for the last 3 days with my father. About 10 days ago he had an aortic valve replaced in his heart. That's full-blown open heart surgery, so they're literally cracking open the chest and they're digging in there and replacing things, and they got him a bypass as well. And so I took the last 3 days off to bring him home from the hospital, get him set up, make sure he's covered and handled. That in itself is a rewarding experience, and you can learn a lot. And I'm thinking about doing a Nooner just on that alone. I got a lot of lessons, but one of the main things I'll tell you right now is that you get to see a different side of strength from somebody who is going through the process of healing from that. And one of the things that we kept saying and kept reaffirming with each other was that, you're already healed, you're already better, you're already there. Like when somebody says it's going to be okay, it's like, no, it's not going to be okay, it is okay. Going to be okay implies that it's not okay now, and that we're not there yet, which consequently means you're never going to get there. It's like I talk about being in a state of want versus reality. Even if what you think even if what you want, if you're wanting, then that's all you're going to get is you'll be in a state of wanting. Whereas if you're acting as if it's already present, then it shows up. So, we spent a lot of time over the last 3 days really trying to bring that mindset to healing. Being, hey, I'm already healed, right? My chest is already healed. My heart's great. It's working fine. The valve is valving. The ticker is ticking. So, that was one of the big lessons I learned about just being in the present while being in the future at the same time, and not letting things like it's going to be okay interfere in healing. So instead of it's going to be okay, it is okay. So, but today we're going to look at success. So let me introduce myself to you for those of you that are just tuning in. My name is David Bradley. I'm a sales and marketing manager with Grant Cardone. Been doing that since March of 2011. Grant Cardone's content and training took me from barely surviving in sales to thriving in it. So now I have the opportunity to work with individuals and clients alike to help them increase production for their organization, for their company, usually to the tune of 15 to 30%, and simply by helping them define and then handle missed opportunity. So if you're in sales, business, or life, and you would like to see a 15 to 30% increase in your company's production, give me a call or shoot me an email. My email address is david@grantcardone.com. My phone number 310-777-0352. Happy to help with that any way I can. Another little thing about me is I'm the author of a book called How to Stop Smoking Without Killing Anyone. This book documents my journey to kick the habit before the habit led to me kicking the bucket. I smoked cigarettes usually about a pack and a half a day for about 15 years. Tried to quit multiple times, did the gum, did the patch, didn't really resort to psychotropic drugs or vaping. That didn't even exist back then. But I tried every possible way, and then I figured out one shift in my brain that worked. So that book is about that. So if you or somebody you know or love is struggling with that, they got the monkey on their back, check out stopdon'tquit.com for more information on that book. It's an easy read and very, very helpful, I think. Third thing, I'm the founder of a hashtag called Rich Man's Gym. This is home-based strength and conditioning for body, mind, and spirit. That will be a book, mark my words. It's in development right now as we speak. So today's topic on the Nooner is 4 tough questions about success from Grant Cardone. So if you haven't read this book, it's called Sell or Be Sold, How to Get Your Way in Business and in Life. Even a musician, Carly, can learn a lot about selling, and you've got a product. That's you, right, and your music and your records. And so how do I get that product into the hands of as many people as possible? Because the more people that do that, the more people get exposed to your wonderful music. So, and then you've got a message and you got a voice, so you have an obligation to sell your product. So that book can be huge for anybody in any walk of life. So in that book, Grant asks some very specific and key questions about success, and they're challenging and they're tough. Grant is not the kind of guy to pull a punch or to censor himself, and if you follow him on Twitter, you'll know that almost immediately. But what you learn, though, I mean, sometimes you need the straight shot, wouldn't you agree? So these 4 questions they're tough, and they're geared to get you to think, and they're geared to get you to challenge your current status quo. Because if you're comfortable, if you're settled, if you're going straight, you're actually going backwards. And what we want to do is get you going up, and we want you trending. Now, if there's some downs, it's fine. But like I've talked about before, you want stock chart type, right? If you're going down, that's fine, but you want to trend upward. So I'm going to drop the 4 questions first. If you've got a second, go grab yourself a pen and some paper. You may want to jot these down because there is homework at the end of this thing, or at least a little challenge. Okay, so here's the 4 questions. Number 1, are you fulfilling your potential? Number 2, do you approach success as a duty? Number 3, would more success be bad for you? And number 4, is your entire family in on one plan for the creation of success? So as I rattled those 4 off, if there was a no that popped up, that was an immediate response to that question, that should be a red flag for you. That should be, hey, there's something I need to dig into. Okay, and that's why I ran them off real quick, so you could go, yep, nope, maybe, right? So there's some clarity that comes when you go fast. Speed is power. So we'll break these down in a second. But if you answered no to any of these things, then your success potentially is limited. I won't even say potentially. Your success is limited. If you answered no to any of those 4 questions, your success is limited. And your ability to succeed and get out into the marketplace and create your success, how you define it, is limited. Okay, so your problem in sales as a profession, it gives you a sign that maybe you haven't gone all in yet. It gives you a sign that maybe you're not 100% committed, that maybe there's one level left for you to push into. Okay, so for this week, I'm going to challenge you to demand success from yourself in all 4 of these areas. And what I want to do is have you spend maybe 10 minutes in the morning and maybe 10 minutes at night, right before you go to bed, to quite literally, first thing in the morning when you wake up and right before you go to bed, quite literally review those 4 questions and legitimately answer them for today. Right? This way, you are daily making sure that you're living up to your full potential. So let's break these questions down again. Okay, so number 1, are you fulfilling your full potential? Nobody knows what that is but you. Hopefully you said no. But when he says, are you fulfilling your full potential, what does that mean to you? What are you doing every single day to maximize what you're capable of doing? How hard are you pushing yourself to do one thing every single day to get better? Our VP of Sales, Jared Glant, I don't know if that's his quote, but he certainly was the first guy I heard it from. He says, be better today than you were yesterday. What are you doing today to be better than you were yesterday? Okay? So look, regardless of where you're at, is there room for improvement? Obviously, yes, of course. It's a no-brainer, right? But you got to be honest with yourself. You know, are you living up to and at your full potential? And if you're not there yet, are you demanding yourself to step up, to push a little bit harder? to be one step above and beyond. Okay? And you want to take full 100% accountability and responsibility for your success. Okay? So question number 2 is, do you approach success as a duty and an obligation? Now, the last 10 days or so have been very interesting for me because I'm out with my dad and he's going through a pretty big event in his life, right? He's got a new aortic valve. So when you think about what success means to you, okay, we ultimately tend to go right to big things like money and a big house and cars and boats and right, but isn't there a little bit more to that than success, And when you start looking at success as a duty and an obligation, where does duty and obligation, like if I hear duty, I think military, I think first responders, like it's a duty, they have a duty to perform, right? Politicians have a duty, clergy, duty, right? And then obligation, meaning you're obligated, it's something that you owe, right? So if you approach success that way, it's part of your duty. It's almost God commanded to be successful. It's part of your duty. You have an obligation to do it. So when you think about that, so taking care of my father and being present for him and helping him through this process and supporting him, I have a duty to do that because he helped bring me into this world. Right? He cleaned my diapers. He put food on the table. He put clothes on my back. He put a roof over my head. He helped me become who I am today. So I have a duty and an obligation to help him. So when you start looking at success that way, what would it be worth to you to be able to know that you are so financially secure that any family member in your life, or any loved one, or any person you care for, if they're having a challenge, like a real legitimate challenge, that you are in a place to where, without any fear of financial repercussion, you can help. You're there. You can be there and know, hey, I got this covered. And I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about calling in sick or getting time off. Like, I can help. I can go help my family member. I can go help my loved one. I can go help my best friend, whoever that may be, right? So when you think about success and every day you go to work and every day you try and grind it out and every day you decide, hey, should I stay an extra hour and make a few more phone calls? That's why you do it. That's when success becomes an obligation and a duty. Right? In a bigger picture than just a bigger house. You want the bigger house not because you can say, hey, I got a big ass house, but because when that family member needs a place to stay, you're like, hey, come on, come over. I got you. Right? That to me is what, when you talk about success as a duty and obligation, that's what we're talking about. You want to create so much success that you're truly free. That's freedom. So then we go into question number 3, which I think is a really tough question and should really rattle some heads. Would more success be bad for you? Would more success be bad for you? Now, if you're thinking, yeah, no, of course not, dumbass. But what have we been taught about successful people? Usually by unsuccessful people, but a lot of there are things in the media and things in the world that lead you and us to believe and want us to believe that successful people are evil. Money is the root of what? All evil. That successful people are corrupt. That they've done something wrong. That they've sold their soul to the devil to be that way. Because there's no way they could be that good on their own. I think that started with Robert Johnson, the old blues musician. But how many musicians can you think of, especially now that we've got rock and roll, because that is the devil music, have been accused of selling their soul to the devil to be successful? There's songs about it. So we tend to sometimes associate success with evil. So when Grant says, would more success be bad for you? That's a wake-up call, because if you're like, man, yeah, or no, but then when you think about it, what's going on back here that's sabotaging your ability to create real success, to push yourself to be better, to work that extra hour, to stay a little bit later, to show up early, right? So really think about what that means, man. I mean, you might have some very limited beliefs that are holding you back because of what you believe successful is and what you believe success might be. And more of it, there's nothing wrong with more of that, because it then allows you to become a better provider and caretaker for the people that are close to you and that you love. Just saying. So then the fourth question is your entire family in on one plan for the creation of your success? That means, are we all on board as a group? That we know that as a team here, this is a team effort. Right? Carly, you're married, right? You got a husband. You guys are in on it together, right? Taking your music business to the next level, right? That's your deal, right? It's a partnership, and you guys have got to be in on that together, totally connected. Because if there's any dissonance there, if there's any disconnect, it just slows the process down. And like I said earlier, like Grant says, speed is power. You got to go fast into this thing. So, Grant talks about this, about having, Grant sits down with his wife every Sunday and the kids. The kids are in on it too, right? The whole family sits down and reviews, hey, where are we at? Where are we going? What are we doing? Okay? There's a restaurant here in Morro Bay, California, where I live, called D'Stasio's. Okay? And my wife and I go there a lot. It's one of our favorite places to go. But when we go there, we usually talk about where we're going, what we're doing, what we want to get out. Where are we headed? Right? So that's our meeting place. To review the plan for success. Where are we at? Where are we going? I can promise you at least once a week I sit down with her and we'll talk about it. I'll mention it. Even if it's just me shouting from the computer. Hey, this is where we're at today. I know where I'm going, and I know what I'm creating. Okay? And she's in on it with me, and she's got my back. So that is what Grant means when he says, hey, is everyone on one success? So look, here's a challenge. Getting a little choppy, feed's breaking, this doesn't get munched up. 7 days. What I want is when you wake up single morning, bed at night, I want you to ask yourself the question. They are. Am I fulfilling my... Do I have success as a obligation? Would success be bad for the entire family in the morning, single night? Ask yourself questions. Because especially at night, you're going to be up all night. Wouldn't you rather those 4 questions, 11 o'clock, new bunch of commercials on antidepressant medication? I would, but that's just... do this with you, and Thursday, and I'm going to add that.